Why in the world would I move from here to Indianapolis? So why did I decide to move away from all of this Southern California, Los Angeles area and move all the way back to the Indianapolis area? So for those of you who do not know, before I moved back to Indianapolis for probably the last time, and I live there currently, I lived in Southern California, and that's where I met my wife, and then we moved back to Indianapolis after analyzing a whole bunch of different cities, Nashville, South Carolina, North Carolina, etc. We just decided to land on Indianapolis. And I loved it for the first couple of years, and then towards the last 2 years that I lived in Southern California, didn't like it as much. And my wife and I, we were looking to move, and so we were analyzing a whole bunch of different cities, seeing what we thought would work best for us, and we landed on Indianapolis. So me growing up in Indianapolis and having been to other states, we were comparing Indianapolis against a whole bunch of different other cities, and it came out on top almost every single time, or close to the top. And so we decided to move back. And so this video, and I'm in Southern California for a wedding right now, so you know what, I was thinking it would be a perfect time to make a video on why I moved from Southern California. And so I'll show you guys here in a bit, but that road behind me, the sun's right in my eyes. But this used to be part of my biking route, and it's a beautiful area. You have the ocean all the way out there. You have LA County all behind me. And you have the Inland Empire area, Rancho over there. So you have the ocean, you have the mountains, you have a lot of things to do. Why in the world would I move from here to Indianapolis? I'm starting to think that doing a video with high elevation, it's not the best move, but we're gonna push through at least 2 points onto why I moved back to Indianapolis, my wife and I. Number one, there's a couple of different reasons. We're gonna go through them all. But number one, the housing price. After COVID, and it wasn't too bad before COVID, it really was not. Pricing, as is with everywhere, exploded. The thing with Southern California is that it is a very cyclical market. And that worries me personally when I'm buying a home, because you could buy at the top of a bubble and it could come crashing down. Whereas if I was to buy in the Midwest, really anywhere in the Midwest or someplace safer, it is not a cyclical, or as cyclical, still is, right? Everywhere is, but not as cyclical of a market. Moved to Indiana, bought a house at the time, 2022, 2023, 2,300 square feet, 4 bedrooms for $375,000. Safe investment historically, and I like that. I'm more of a risk-averse person, and so if you're a risk-averse, buying in the Midwest is a great investment. And there's a bee or something behind me. Get away from me. Point number 2, pollution. It drove me crazy. Today, it is incredibly clear. Most days it is not like this. And you can see, I'll turn my camera around and get a video of the area over there, but it is hazy over there. And the valley. Not so much today over there, but the pollution drove me crazy to where on most days you would see smog. And it just didn't look clean, it didn't feel clean. You would see trash on the side of the highways. So when you're driving around, it wasn't clean. And then you would look in the sky and it wasn't clean. Some days I couldn't even see the mountain that I'm standing on right now. That's how bad it could get. Not to say that Indiana doesn't have any pollution. We get a little bit of pollution from Canada in terms of the fires that they have there, and then the smoke comes down. But it is nowhere, in my opinion, and I haven't researched this, maybe it's worse in Indianapolis, who knows, but visually, I don't think that there's a chance that the smog in Indianapolis is as worse here. Beautiful, but the pollution, it drove me crazy. I love going to sporting events. For example, myself, I lived in the Inland Empire, Rancho Cucamonga over there, while downtown LA is all the way over there. And so if I wanted to go to a Lakers game or a Clippers game, nobody went to the Clippers game. I went there one time because the tickets were cheap. That place was empty. Empty. Pacers are better than both of those teams, by the way. Lucky us. But point to that, sporting events, just so much cheaper and easier to get to in Indianapolis. The Laker game I never went to. One, because it would take me an hour and a half to get there, an hour and a half to get back home, but I would also have to pay $200 for a ticket. And everything added together, $200 for a ticket for a team that is mediocre, plus 3 hours of travel time, finding parking, paying for parking. It just didn't make sense to me. I was like, why would I do all that to go watch a game when I can just watch it on the television? And it's just a better experience overall. Same thing goes with everything else. So whether it be concerts, or whatever else people like to do, for example, there are a ton of choices here, right? You could do 100 different things on any given day or week. A little bit too many options though. So in Indianapolis, any area, downtown, suburbs, there's still a lot of options, even for music too. You have Ruoff, Holiday Park, a whole bunch of cities have concerts, the Egyptian Room, Hi-Fi. And I know I'm missing 2 or 3 other spots too, but there's a lot of places and things to do in Indianapolis to where maybe we don't get a huge name performing every 2 or 3 nights or every night, but there are big names that come to Indianapolis, and so you can find things to do easily. As well for the school districts, to get into a top school district in Southern California, for example, you're gonna have to spend a ton of money, a ton. Probably $1 million plus to get into like a top school district, to whereas in my eyes, according to ratings too, Carmel, Zionsville, probably the top 2 schools in the area. You can get a condo in Zionsville and or Carmel for $300, or if you want more space, a single family. Zionsville, it's a little bit more, $670-ish is the median sales price, but in Carmel you can get a place for $500 all day, and it might be older, but if it's not something that you like, you can go to a place like Fisher's or Noblesville, get a home for $400, be very comfortable, and be in one of the top school districts in the city. Here, got to spend a whole bunch of money to do that. It's raining, so we're taking cover. What a poor excuse for cover this is, but it's working a little bit. I'm going to kneel down. I am a real estate agent in the Indianapolis area. And so because this is my channel, it's sponsored by me. So if you're looking to buy or sell, if you have any questions about moving to the Indianapolis area, and I'm tired because I just ran up a mountain to get here, but feel free to text, call, DM. I have a form that you can fill out below. You can do any of the options. We can get in touch and talk. And as well, because this does help my channel quite a bit and the videos quite a bit, we practice Hoosier hospitality here. So if you do like this video, then you should like it. And if you like this video and you want to watch more, because I have videos coming out almost every single week, not every week, but almost every single week, then subscribe, and then you can check them all out. Okay, so it stopped raining, so I don't have to kneel down. Well, it kind of stopped raining, so I don't really have to kneel down anymore. Cost of living, a little bit different. Gasoline is the most noticeable thing. It's just more expensive out here. Compared to Indianapolis, Indiana, it's about $1 cheaper, 25% cheaper, which is big. It's a big deal. I would say prices of tickets, for example, are extremely different out here versus Indianapolis. I think grocery prices are a little bit cheaper in Indianapolis, but I haven't honestly really noticed that much. It's the little things. And honestly, the biggest thing for the cost of living in Indianapolis was pricing. I mean, not pricing, but housing. So even for renting, for example, we have 2 big dogs, and it was hard for us to find a place to rent that allowed a Pit Rottweiler mix and then a German Shepherd mix. So we would pay, the last place that we lived in here was 700 square feet, and we were paying $2,500, I think. A lot of money, a lot. Then we bought a house in Indianapolis, 6% interest rate. We put some money down, of course. So it's different depending on how much money you put down. But our monthly mortgage right now, as it stands, is $1,700. Way better. And so another reason, I do not have this scripted at all. I made no notes. This is just me kind of going off the top of my head on what things brought me back and my wife back to Indianapolis. Travel. So when you are not spending as much money, you can travel and you can go to a lot of cool places. And even outside of travel, one thing that is awesome about Indianapolis is the airport. It is super easy to use. Super easy. It's not like Los Angeles where you have to travel there from where you live an hour and a half away. So much traffic. Once in LA, I parked at a parking garage to get a lower parking cost ticket, right? And I had to take a shuttle there. There was no shuttles when I got back from my trip. So I had to take an Uber from the hotel, not the hotel, what am I talking about? An Uber from the airport to the parking garage that my car was in. It took 5 minutes. I got a $100 Uber ride charge. It was just ridiculous. Prices to park in Indianapolis, I think, are like $10 for economy a day, $15 for the closer area, maybe $20 if I'm without looking, maybe $20, probably closer to $20. But easy to get in, easy to get out, easy to get to home after you're tired from traveling all the time. They're working on more direct flights, which to me, having direct flights to different places isn't a huge deal. I don't mind layovers. Have a couple new ones came on to our airport recently, one being Dublin to Indianapolis direct flight. Because there's a lot of businesses, I guess, I haven't checked, but there's a lot of businesses that do business here and in Dublin or someplace in Ireland. And I didn't realize it, but I think it's true, because last time I went to the airport, there was a lot of people with Irish accents. And I could tell, it seemed like they were not here just as tourists in Indianapolis. It seemed like they were here for work. So look, that's my list of why we moved back to, why I moved back. My wife moved for the first time. Fun fact, before we moved back permanently, we were both remote in California working. And so we drove our 2 dogs back and ourselves back to live with my family for a month in February, specifically February, because it's the coldest month. And I wanted to see if she could handle it. Y'all know how I said I do not like cold. She handled it better than I did. So she was okay with it. A year later, we moved back. So appreciate y'all listening, and I hope you got some nice views in the background as opposed to my normal home videos where I'm sitting in my house. If you also moved to Indianapolis, too bright there, to Indianapolis from a different state, I would love to know why. What were the factors that drove you to move to Indianapolis? Do you still like it? Do you not? Is there any other words of advice that you would have for people moving in? I know I have a bunch of advice, but getting advice from other people in the comments is very interesting. provides a different perspective. So hope you all liked the video. Hope it was helpful, and I'll see y'all on the next one.